What's up, everyone? Happy New Year. Let's crush 2023. So I happened to get a really good trade today, and I want to do a trade recap. It's Wednesday, January 4th. I took a short on Microsoft, same scalping mentality, but I ended up sizing up. I took 40 contracts, got a real nice move, and made $3,090. And even though I did not get the whole move on this because nobody's capable of getting the entire move, I am glad that I sized up and I was able to basically take the same patterns that I've always been trading, but size up on them. Something that I want to work towards in the future is that when I take those patterns, maybe leaving a piece or just being a little bit more patient, but trying to factor in size and also hold longer is not easy to do. So it's always a work in progress. And here you see the P&L in the center of the screen. So I traded the 230 puts, 80 total. So 40 in, 40 out, got a nice move and made $3,090, which is awesome. Now let's break down the technicals in the daily chart because that's going to be the most important piece of all of this. I'm always looking at the daily chart first to come up with the trade idea and then executing on a lower time frame. So if we look at the daily chart, it's been consolidating a little bit. It had the gap above this consolidation, but failed. So strength got sold, and then it was getting sold pretty aggressively in the pre-market today. And I've been eyeing this 234 level, so a very big area of support. And I figured if it could break support in a weak market, there's a possibility that maybe it could get some selling pressure. And also there was an open downside gap on the daily chart. So if it's breaking major support and it has an open downside gap, a lot of times that gap can be a magnet and a stock can move its way towards it. So when we had the weakness in pre-market and we had broke that support and we were kind of trading right at it, just below it as it got closer to the open, and we had that open downside gap, I felt like this was a really good play because it finally broke out of the range. So one thing that I'm trying to do is avoid stocks that are stuck in ranges because there can be a lot of fake outs. But when those ranges break, that's when the price action can be a lot cleaner. So that's what I really want to focus on moving forward. Now, setups like this are not going to happen every single day, but when they do, I need to be ready to take full advantage. And even though I didn't hold for a long time, something that I will work on or I'm trying to work on, at least I sized up and I got a decent move. So now let's look at Microsoft on a 2-minute chart off the open. The red line is going to be pre-market low, one of the major technical levels that I always like to trade around. So the first move was higher and it pushed into the VWAP and the 9 EMA. The thing that I like about this is that it rejected it very quickly. So there's a lot of weakness going on. Any rejection to the upside, I'm going to like that because it shows that sellers are taking control. So it has that failed move higher, and then this 2-minute candle closed red. So it broke pre-market low and then closed below it, showing me that it's very weak. So this is the 2-minute opening range break. It set the high, failed to move higher, and then there's the low. And now it's all about seeing what that next candle does. And when it breaks that low, I think it's going to go lower. And that's exactly what happened. So clearly that 2-minute range is set, tried to push a little bit and completely failed. Also a whole number broke below that, broke the lows. When I see weakness like this, that's where I'm going to get short. And then you get a really nice quick move to the downside. So just in that one candle right there, that was almost a 2-point move. So that's a big move for Microsoft. So when I get a move like that, I'm always going to be thinking about taking profits. And I really wanted to try to hold for that gap fill, but I'm not a fan of holding through bounces. I know in order to get bigger wins, you have to do so, but I'm really just not there yet. So when I get that 2-minute downside opening range break and get a very quick washout, I wanted to see this quickly get to that gap fill. I had the line marked just kind of as a possible target. And when it made this new low right here and then started to bounce, I ended up just getting out of the position because I did not want to hold through any sort of bounce because we all know that when it comes to options, if you hold through bounces, the premiums can get really drained and I just didn't want to go through that. So I ended up taking the quick move like I normally do. And then what happened? This ended up pushing to the 9 EMA, remained below VWAP, and then ended up having a much bigger move lower. Of course, had I held, I would have made a lot of money, but it's not easy to do so real time. That's why I really like to scalp. I can get those quick moves, and then I don't have to worry about trying to figure out what a stock is going to do after. So that was the trade recap. I appreciate you watching the video. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I just want to talk about a couple cool things that I have to offer. The first is going to be my newsletter watch list. This is exactly what I post on my private Twitter 30 minutes before market open every single day. I do a quick analysis of the overall market, the SPY and the Qs, if there's any major market news that day, and then all the stocks I'm interested in watching, it's usually 4 or 5, if there's any major news tied to them, and all the levels that I think are in play. To the left, this is exactly what I'm posting on my private Twitter. I make sure to add that newsletter. I take a screenshot of the charts, green line to the upside being long, red line to the downside being short, and I make sure to highlight those 2 levels above. This is everything that's going on in my mind and my game plan going into each market open. Also, I make sure to add a little mental note because every day is slightly different, and here's an example of that. And if you want something that's a little bit less of a commitment, I do offer a live one-on-one call for 1 hour. This is where you can ask me questions about my journey, go over setups specifically, everything that I've gone through as a trader. Whether you're beginner or advanced, this is a great way to connect with me. So if you're interested in my private Twitter or the one-on-one live call, feel free to go to callmattdiamond.com or check out the links in the description below.